So SCR 1009, Elaine.
Madam Chair, members, for the record, my name is Elaine Pimsner, and I am a Senate research intern. SCR 1009 expresses the legislature's support for the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act and the Ensuring Accurate and Complete Abortion Data Reporting Act of 2019. And with that, I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Elaine. Members, do you have any questions for staff? Seeing none, we have the sponsor of the bill, Senator Kerr. Welcome to committee.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I appreciate you putting this important SCR on your agenda. And this is a bill or an SCR that I did run last year and made it out of the Senate. It got over to the House, and like many of our bills, didn't make it through before sine die. So members, Madam Chair and members, SCR 1009 calls on the United States Congress to enact the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act and Ensuring Accurate and Complete Abortion Data Reporting Act of 2019. A born alive infant is an infant who is born alive at any age or stage of development, following natural labor, a cesarean section, or an induced abortion. A civilized society should never deny basic medical care to any child born alive, including one who survives an attempted abortion. The U.S. Congress enacted the Federal Born Alive Infants Protection Act in 2002 to repudiate the flawed notion that the right to an abortion means the right to a dead baby. The law has proven to be inadequate in providing legal protections for infants surviving attempted abortions. The Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act supplements the 2002 law to ensure that healthcare providers exercise the same degree of professional skill, care, and diligence to preserve the life and health of a child born alive as the provider would render to any other child born alive. In 2017, the Arizona legislature enacted Senate Bill 1367 to strengthen Arizona's laws on babies born alive to ensure that those babies are provided life-saving care. The law also added reporting requirements. The impetus for strengthening the Arizona law resulted from a tragic situation in which a baby that survived an abortion was not given life-saving care. The child, a girl, survived the abortion for 78 minutes before passing away. In 2019 alone, Arizona reported that 15 infants were born alive following an abortion procedure. Both the federal and state laws are necessary to serve as reinforcement mechanisms for each other and to have the most comprehensive laws possible to protect these babies. And it's really important that the country know that Arizona values all human life, and that regardless of what one's political beliefs are about abortion, we all agree that once a baby is born alive, it has every right to a chance at life. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Senator Kerr. Members, do you have any questions for the sponsor? Seeing none.
I do have questions, Madam. Sorry about that.
Oh, Senator Navarrete.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Senator Kerr. I have a few questions. So it's a comment and a question. So one, I just want to push back a bit on some of the language in this SCR 1009. Bills like this. One, it's just sending a message to Congress, but what it really is doing is trying to perpetuate this myth and many misinformations about what abortion care really is, and women who receive abortion care and the doctors who care for them. One of the things when we're talking about you mentioned some of the data, a lot of that data, is very specific data that doesn't have a whole lot of research. We know that the CDC has often said that, even some of these numbers just aren't, accurate numbers and could result from simple, an abortion or an induced pregnancy, just based on car accidents, some severe incident, internal bleeding. There is a whole series of data that goes into some of the numbers that you're mentioning. And I'm just a big believer, that women should have that, they're making the most important life decisions at this time. And we need to allow women to make the best decisions that is going to be best for their lives, their families, and make sure that we have a community behind them that is going to support them and, make sure that they're being treated with dignity equally as well. So I hear where you're going with this, Senator. But again, I just want to make sure that we are not falling into the traps of misinformation and making sure that when we're talking about many of these figures that you're bringing up, that it's rooted in data and that data is very clear to the public, because at the end of the day, this does not advance women's health issues. And again, as a committee of health, I think it's important for us to just remain focused on what is going to improve the quality of life for women. So I guess it's more of a comment, but I guess what I can say is, are you getting your data from, accurate sources, or where is this data coming from where you're bringing these 14 cases about? I hope that makes some sense.
It does, Senator. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. If I may comment or respond to the Senator's comments. Most importantly, Senator and members, this SCR is not about an abortion decision that's already been made. This is about saving the life of a child that survives abortion. And so that's the focus of this SCR. And I'll be glad to get you all the sources of those numbers. I don't have the exact source, but I can get that to you. But I stand by what the SCR, what it states and its purpose.
Madam Chair, to that point.
Can I just add to that real quick? And I appreciate your response, Senator Kerr. I think it's important when we have legislation in front of us that we don't stray from, into impugning motives here, and also enlarging what we're actually discussing. So I'm just going to put a kibosh on that right now. I think what we're dealing with here is born alive infants surviving abortion and the care that they receive or not. Right now, that's why we passed 1367 in 2017, because we were hearing and we know that it was standard practice and continues to be standard practice, that when an abortion fails and a child is born alive, they're left on a cold metal table to die without care. And that should not happen. This is about protecting those lives. It's a separate, apart from the abortion discussion or a woman's right to have one. This is another issue. And I really think it's not appropriate to join the two in this discussion and say that it somehow denigrates that woman by allowing care for that child that's born. This is a different situation. But if you'd like to ask another question, Senator Navarrete, please do.
And thank you for that comment, Madam Chair and Senator Kerr. Just a follow-up question to the previous discussion that we're having. One of the things that I had mentioned last week during another bill is that when we're talking about bills around around this, quote unquote, unborn child, we have, there's a ton of different associations, even at the national level, that have come out against any of these types of these bills that are taking place all across the country, quite frankly. And numerous organizations have been opposed to these bills. And I mentioned last week that the American College of Obstetricians have been against it, and gynecologists, and the American College of Nurse and Midwives, including the Society for Maternal and Fetal Medicine. And again, this is going off the language that you submitted that is referring to some of the legislation in Congress that has been attempted, that has been introduced, but of course not passed, thankfully. At least not all of them, not the recent ones that you've mentioned in here. So again, I just want to be clear and on the record that there are national organizations that are against this bill and these resolutions, and that can easily be found just by simply, Googling up, many of these different organizations that I mentioned as well.
Senator Kerr, did you have a response to that?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I might, please. That's extremely disappointing. This is about saving the life of a child that was born alive and has every right to all the medical care available to sustain that precious life. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I would just add, we heard from a lot of those organizations, Senator Navarrete. You're right. You're right. There are two thoughts of opinion on this. I'm glad Arizona is standing with the child for appropriate care when those children are born. Any other questions at this point for the sponsor or comments? We will move on to testimony then. Marilyn Rodriguez, welcome to committee. Please.
Madam Chair, I'm so sorry. I just had a to the point to your comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
Yeah, and again, you know, it's just, I just want to just make clear that we're not talking about the child just in this language. What is also being perpetrated in this language is that we are trying to put out of reach this abortion care that women are seeking. And if this, you know, if this resolution passes and the bills actually pass in Congress, you know, we actually will be losing funding to our family, Medicaid funding to our family planning as well, at least from what I read on this, from what I read on some of these bills. So again, this can have really consequential, you know, effects on even Arizona's Medicaid family planning services that we do provide here in the state of Arizona. So just wanted to do that to that point as well. That's it. Thank you.
Marilyn?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you for granting me the time to testify remotely today. And thank you, Senator Navarrete, for your comments. I agree and appreciate your standing up. My name is Marilyn Rodriguez with Creosote Partners, speaking in opposition to SCR1009 on behalf of my client, the Planned Parenthood Advocates of Arizona. First, I want us to dispel with any notion that this resolution is based in fact or reality. Brought forward on behalf of those opposed to abortion care, this resolution is predicated on false claims about abortion care and how it works. This bills and bills like it serve only to perpetuate myths and lies about abortion care, and the goal is to place abortion completely out of reach and to imprison and put to death.
Ms. Rodriguez, you're out of order. You're impugning the motives of a legislator here and those that support the legislation before us. Please change your tone and your language.
Respectfully, Madam Chair, thank you. I will continue. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, to that point, can you maybe describe what staying in line, because I guess I'm not really seeing her impugning motives in her testimony. Maybe if you can give us an example of, like, I guess the boundaries.
Because it's completely, okay. What it is it's completely off topic. And the motive of the topic at hand has nothing to do with treating women appropriately with abortion and or not. It has to do with saving an unborn child's life once they've survived an abortion. So I consider them a bit intertwined to your question, Senator Navarrete.
Yeah, and Madam Chair, just to that point, because some of the acts that are
we'll have an opportunity later to discuss. We need to move on to allow Ms. Rodriguez to finish her testimony, if you will.
Yeah, Madam Chair, and all I'm saying is that the acts actually do talk about some of these acts.
Point of order.
Senator Townsend.
Thank you. Madam Chair, you had just asked Mr. Navarrete to cease and move on to Ms. Rodriguez, and he continued, and I just wanted to ask if that was in a violation of our rules of the committee.
I do believe it is. So I would ask you, Senator Navarrete, to wait, and we will discuss further if we need to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you very much. I will continue. This resolution expresses a desire to force doctors and medical professionals to deviate from their best medical judgment instead of providing instead provide futile and painful treatment. All of this would be against the wishes of the parents under the threat of criminal charges. You are proposing the elimination of the option of compassionate care for them. Their bodies do not belong to the government. They do not belong to you. As elected representatives of the people of Arizona, you took an oath to uphold the Constitution, and abortion care and privacy. These are constitutional rights you swore to protect. And I understand your comments, Madam Chairwoman, and feel kind of on the other side of the coin that this is intrinsically related to the Born Alive recommendation that this bill brings forth. So I will just end with saying that instead of acknowledging the reality that women and families face complicated medical decisions, anti-abortion opponents resort to bills such as this they do use shaming rhetoric to distract from the true agenda, which is to push abortion care out of reach and punish women and their doctors. Enough, please. And thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Any questions for Marilyn Rodriguez? Thank you. Next up is Tori Roberg.
There we go. Hi, and my first time on Zoom testifying. Nice to see you again. For the record, thank you, Madam Chair, for allowing me to speak today and allowing this remote testimony. I very much appreciate it on behalf of me and all the people in my household. So today I represent the Secular Coalition for Arizona, as I have for many years. And for the record, I'm Tori, I'm here on behalf of Secular AZ. We work to ensure a state government and to educate a secular state government and to educate lawmakers and the public of importance on secular issues. We advocate on behalf of all individuals who believe that public policy free of religious preference is the best way to ensure freedom of conscience for Arizonans of all faiths and none. And today I stand in respectful opposition to SCR1009. I stood here years ago making the same arguments on then it was Senate Bill 1367. Women came to the Capitol to share their personal and compelling stories with you at that time about how the language would have negatively affected them and their families in one of the most traumatic moments of their lives. It is unfortunate that we are here talking about this again. Forced resuscitation unnecessarily places the government between a woman and her doctor to make the decisions that are right for her and her family. If this federal bill becomes law, obstetricians and pediatricians would be forced to ignore their best medical judgment and administer futile, painful treatment against the wishes of the family and under the threat of criminal or civil litigation. It's important to recognize that each situation is different. What I am in favor of is acknowledging the complexities of medical decisions, honoring the medical professionals, honoring the families who are having to make these decisions about what medical treatments are done, and respecting women's and families' decisions. This bill is being supported by religious organizations, and I see no medical professionals supporting this bill. The Secular Coalition for Arizona, again, we respect everyone's right to have their beliefs, but we do not want religion policies in government. And when you are, not you, apologies, the federal bill is defining life. And this is complicated. So we're here today asking the Arizona State Legislature not to recommend that the federal government pass this bill through passing SCR 1009. And I'm happy to take your questions.
Members, do you have any questions for Tori Roberg? Thank you. Mr. Vice Chair. I don't see. Oh, would you move the SCR, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that SCR 1009 do pass.
Thank you. Members, you've heard the motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Gabaldon.
Madam Chair, may I explain my vote?
Please proceed.
Thank you. I'm just very sad right now. SCR 1009 needlessly places the government between a woman and her doctor. Decisions made by women and their doctors should be between them alone. Under the threat of criminal or civil litigation, doctors would administer painful treatment against the wishes of the parents. Doctors would be forced to stray from their best medical judgment if this act becomes law. Parents and their doctors to will have no say in how the last few minutes or hours of those child's life will be spent. Senator Gabaldon votes no on SCR 1009.
Senator Gonzalez,
Madam Chair, I'd like to explain my vote.
Please proceed.
I too am very upset with this bill, and I would like to thank Senator Navarrete for all of his comments. To me, it is unconscionable to allow us elected officials to be able to speak our mind on any legislation that comes before us. And I believe that religion and faith, that this bill constitutes is placing the religion or faith of other people on everybody, and that is wrong. It is my opinion that you know, and that of all of the people on the RTS system who have weighed in on this issue. And I would like to, since our people, you know, have not, because of the pandemic, are not able to be here to provide testimony. You know, I would like to read a couple of them. And also, I also noticed that a lot of men have weighed in this in support of women's health and their privacy and their decisions to control their own bodies, and decisions that are made between women and their doctors and their family members. And I really would like to thank the men who have weighed in. I happen to have 5 daughters and 11 granddaughters, and we, as legislators, should not be deciding what happens or weighing in on the decisions that they make or will make in the future with any pregnancy that they have. And I really, I'm trying to find the one that I want to read. Hold on a second. The name is Michael Johnson. I'm going through my list. I might not be able to find it, but oh, here he is. Michael Johnson's right in the request to speak. Abortion is legal. Stop trying to criminalize something that is legal because of your personal beliefs. And Michael Mold says, reproductive health services should be accessible as possible. And as has been stated by Senator Navarrete and the other speakers against this Senate concurrent resolution, is that this will hinder the maternal health of women in the state and across the nation if this federal bill comes to fruition. So I, Senator Gonzalez, vote a definitive no on HCR 1009.
Senator Navarrete.
Madam Chair, may I briefly explain my vote?
Please proceed.
Thank you. First, I want to just say thank you to the folks that are tuning in to, even watch this portion of the debate around SCR 1009. I know that there's a lot more folks that want to, wish to weigh in, but just know that we have received your calls, we have received your emails and your concerns, and, are working to, push back against, any bills that target the abortion care folks. Just like this bill, it does nothing really with how abortion care actually works, and is based on many false claims. So I just, I'm a big believer that, and I've said this during my discussion, that the decision whether or when to become a parent is one of the most important life decisions that we make and that folks make. Whether you're becoming a parent yourself or whether you're adopting or whatever it may be. But when people have to make people have to make these decisions, and they have to make the decisions that are best for their lives and their family and their faith, so that we can thrive as a community. And we know that all the data shows that when individuals have more access to abortion care, there's actually less abortions. When we are focusing on, on making sure that we're caring for the whole person, there's just less abortion. And we can look at other countries, we can look at other states where this is very true. So again, I just think it's important that we need to participate and build community where folks can really participate with dignity and equality in this country and in this state. So, Madam Chair, with that, this is Senator Tony Navarrete, and I vote nay on SCR 1009.
Senator Rogers.
Madam Chair, may I explain my vote?
Please proceed.
The abortion is over. The attempted abortion is over once the child is born on the cold steel table. I have a family member who has had a career in neonatal intensive care. I have had in-depth tour of NICU, neonatal intensive care. Babies who are this small, once born, survive if granted care. We are not talking about an unborn child. We're talking about a child who has been born. And with that, I give a declarative positive aye. Senator Wendy Rogers on SCR 1009.
Senator Shaw.
Senator Shaw votes aye on SCR 1009.
Senator Townsend.
Madam Chair, may I explain my vote?
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As tempting as it is, I'm not going to talk about the abortion. As Senator Rogers pointed out, that we are talking about a born child who survived the abortion and what we are going to do with the child. I have to say, my heart's actually beating fast because I'm kind of scared. I'm scared for the direction that our society is heading when our argument against this bill is that, we don't want your religious views imposed upon us. And I've been listening and pondering them. Is it religious views? What kind of views are they? Are they religious? Because I remember learning years ago about the Old Testament god of Moloch. Probably said that wrong. Molech, the god of convenience, the god of money. And you sacrifice things to Moloch to have a more prosperous life. And one of the things they would sacrifice is their children, their little babies, and they'd put them on hot, burning rock that they had heated up with fire, and they burned their children as an offering to Moloch. And that's very similar to what we're hearing here. And that's religious. So I don't think that it's a religious issue. I think it's an issue as to whether or not we are okay with taking the life of a child after it's born. And yeah, that's uncomfortable to hear. And so it makes me literally sick to my stomach. I'm close to throwing up right now because I can't understand an argument to say, I'm okay with allowing that child to die because that was my intention in the first place. So my intention in the first place was for the child to die. So because it managed to get out, I still want it to die. I'm not okay with that. That's horrifying. So if it's a religious issue, then count me guilty. If that's what this is, and you're saying it's a religious issue, choose today who you're going to serve. I serve God, and I think that this is horrible. And with that, I vote aye, Kelly Townsend, on SCR 1009.
Senator Pace,
I, Senator Pace, vote aye on SCR 1009.
Senator Barto,
I, Senator Nancy Bartow, vote aye on SCR 1009.
5 ayes, 3 nays, and 0 not voting.
Thank you. Members, by your vote of 5 ayes, 3 nays, and 0 not voting, you've given SCR 1009 a due pass recommendation.